um, everyone's on.
Understood. Mhm. Okay, the link is in board docs. And as far as staff, we have everyone we need. Will start texting a few board members.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'm going to get started. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Today is January 29th, 2025, and I am Francoise Darastel Ledger, and I am the chair for the Teaching and Learning Committee for Hartford Public Schools or Hartford Board of Education. And this is our meeting is starting, our committee meeting is starting, and I would like to give everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves. And so we generally popcorn it off. So I will start with Daisy Torres Hill.
Thank you. I'm Daisy Torres Hill. I am the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, and I will pass it over to Tracy.
Thank you, Daisy. Good evening. My name is Tracy Avicoli, and I am the Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning. I will pass it to Anastasia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Anastasia DiFideli Dutton. I'm the Assistant Director of Professional Learning in the Office of Teaching and Learning, working with Tracy and Daisy and Dr. Ratley.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Connie Ratley, serving as Deputy Superintendent for Schools and Academics. I will now tag in our board chair, Jennifer Hockenhall.
Hi, I'm Jen Hockenhall. I'm the chair of the board. I will turn it over to Stephen Wilson.
Hello, everyone. Stephen Wilson, board member, and I will get it over to Stephen Tatum.
Hello, my name is Stephen Tatum, also a board member. And since I just jumped on, I have no idea who has gone and who has not. So if someone who has not introduced themselves could pick it up, you take it away.
I believe I'm the last one, Christina Santiago, board liaison, and back to the board chair, the Teaching and Learning Committee chair.
Thank you so much. And Christina, can you please pull up the agenda? Thank you so much. And our agenda item is agenda item 1.01, Hartford Principal Leadership Academy, HPLA, and I will turn this over to Dr. Ratley.
Thank you, Committee Chair Daristelle Ledger. As we share information tonight, we are simply providing updates on the work around instructional planning, particularly in our teaching and learning department. As introduced earlier, we have our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, Daisy Torres-Hill, as well as our Assistant Director for Professional Learning, Anastasia DeFideli-Dutton. And the second presentation, Ms. Torres-Hill will continue with introductions of the team that will present later. So I'm turning it now over to Ms. Daisy Torres-Hill.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ratley. Good evening, board members, and welcome. You can turn to the next slide, Christina. Thank you. Our session objectives for today are to share an overview of the Hartford Principal Leadership Academy, also known as HPLA, and its program success. We will also provide an update on our current Assistant Principal Leadership Academy, also known as HAPLA, where we will also share next steps pertaining to our leadership development programming. And we will conclude with providing a program of studies update by our Director of Secondary, Tracy Abacote. Next slide, please.
Forgive me, I think my computer or the internet has been acting up. Let me see. I'm clicking and it won't do anything. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Brother, it's frozen.
Sure,
Do you want? Yeah, I could try. Let me stop screen sharing.
I am more than happy to share this.
I hope you have better luck. It's been acting up in our office all day.
We're gonna try, so bear with me, everyone. I'm gonna put this on the slideshow, and then board member Tatum, I see you on my screen, so if you can see the slide, then thumbs up for me. Great, perfect. Thank you so much. So we were just reading up on our session objectives, so I will move to the next slide. In alignment with our strategic priorities in enabling systemic practices, today's session will focus on equitable access to high-quality learning experiences and the structure and culture of adult learning. I want to provide a little background and research on principal pipelines. Effective principals impact numerous outcomes, such as teacher satisfaction, turnover, student learning, and school culture and climate, as highlighted by the Wallace Foundation. During the 23-24 school year, in response to a need for leadership development in our district, a principal pipeline program was created as a district-wide strategy to develop a large, ongoing supply of highly effective school leaders from within our organization. Our District Leadership Development Advisory Council, comprised of school and district leadership, leveraged several guiding principles in the program design, including building a bench to create a pool of candidates from within Hartford Public Schools to increase retention, and recruiting leaders to capitalize on local context and knowledge. The vision of our leadership development program, as you see here in the Building Our Bench graphic, included a focus on building our principal pipeline in year 1 and the assistant principals in year 2. Building capacity of our current administrators who aspire to district executive levels of leadership is the vision for year 3. In January 2024, the Hartford Principal Leadership Academy launched with a cohort of 6 aspiring principals. These leaders participated in a 6-month professional learning journey to develop their leadership skills and dispositions as Hartford Public School leaders. As participants in the program, HPLA fellows engaged in 10 monthly leadership development sessions, utilizing a curriculum co-designed and owned by our district. They deepened their understanding of Hartford's portrait of leader competencies. They engaged in coaching to promote reflective learning and completed a culminating capstone project. At the end of the program, our candidates developed a deeper understanding of the HPS context and the skills necessary to lead for excellence on behalf of all schools. Program design also included the portrait of a principal, which identifies the 5 key attributes necessary to be a successful principal in Hartford Public Schools. These attributes: instructionally focused, equity-driven change agent, relationship builder, excellent communicator, and growth mindset, in combination with the Connecticut leadership standards, were used to shape the learning for our participants. On this slide, you will see that participants engaged in 3 learning modules focused on leading for self, organizational leadership, and leading for instruction. And there are various topics within each of those modules, as you can see here. I'll give you a moment there, so you can just take that in. Here, you will see our fellows in action. Learning for the fellows included professional learning from district leadership and visiting classrooms focused on instructional leadership. Last spring, our fellows were invited to share their personal stories in a speaker series with the University of Connecticut, focused on leadership development. As a final culminating project, our 6 fellows featured here engaged in a capstone experience. Their projects were grounded in the knowledge learned in the program and centered on a problem of practice in their settings. I am proud to share that 2 of our fellows were hired into principal roles for the 24-25 school year. As part of the continuous improvement process, we engaged in a program evaluation to understand participant experiences and inform our strategy to improve and expand programming. As we can see here, strengths of our program included session topics, particularly in regards to street data and instructional rounds, coaching that allowed for reflection and application of the session content, and growth in the fellows' ability to set a vision, communicate, and lead effective teams. You can also see here some of the quotes taken directly from our fellows. 2 areas of growth included adding a current Hartford Public School principal mentor to the program experience and deepening understanding of the instructional leadership with more opportunities to develop the instructional eye. Using this data from our program evaluation, the Leadership Advisory Committee developed the Hartford Assistant Principal Leadership Academy, our second pipeline, which is a program that launched at the start of this school year. There are 9 aspiring assistant principals currently engaged in a similar program as seen in the program design here. An added feature this year is the addition of our mentor principals in the district to support the leadership development of our fellows. Moreover, our HPLA fellows are paying it forward by leading professional learning sessions and providing our assistant principal fellows shadowing opportunities. So we noticed that in our original evaluation that this was a component that was missing, and we are proud to be able to add that in this year. In addition to our program for aspiring assistant principals, 6 newly hired assistant principals in our district are receiving leadership coaching through a community of practice. This model provides these leaders with an affinity group, a place where they can share ideas, learn best practices, and unpack problems of practices with other leaders across the district. As we think ahead to next steps for our district leadership programs, plans are underway to create an internal leadership series by embedding the existing program modules into leadership development strands. We are also leveraging feedback from current cohorts to enhance our future programming. As we did with our first cohort, into our second cohort, we will continue to develop future programming. And lastly, we're building upon our current model by incorporating newly created modules, which are actually being designed by our current principals for new AP and principal development. There's more to come on that. We're very excited and we're very proud, and you could see a few of pictures of our fellows in action. At this time, I'm going to transition to our Director of Secondary, Tracy Abacoli, who will provide an update on our planning for the 25-26 program.
I apologize, I couldn't find my button. Thank you, members of the board and Daisy. I'm pleased to present our comprehensive program of studies revision process for the 25-26 academic school year. Let me walk you through some of the key aspects on this important update. Next slide. Oh, nope, same slide. Our revision process has been guided by 3 main principles: alignment with our 2024 National Career Clusters Framework, improving both teaching conditions and student outcomes and access, and strategic alignment and streamlining of our course offerings in high school. Looking at our current state, we have 361 courses across our high schools. Our analysis revealed significant overlap in content and programming, with multiple variations of similar courses that have been added throughout the years. Notably, our advanced courses showed low participation rates among our students with disabilities and our multilingual learners. So through careful evaluation, we are reducing our course catalog from 361 to approximately 296 unique courses, which equates to approximately an 18% decrease. Next slide, please. However, I do want to emphasize that this isn't just about a reduction of courses, and we're making strategic changes that include some of these key components. We'll be maintaining core academics with minimal reductions and more of a focus on consolidation. We will be expanding, and we plan to expand our world language program offerings with new French 1 through 4 courses and a pilot Portuguese 1 offering. We have been intentional about implementing thoughtful consolidation in our career and technical education courses and our arts programming offerings. We would like to begin introducing virtual learning opportunities for advanced coursework in order to expand access to multiple students across schools and to create a more interactive format for our program of studies using a digital program format. Next slide. We expect that these changes will yield significant benefits, and some of those intended outcomes for students would be to increase participation in advanced coursework across schools, to have higher completion rates for career pathways across our high schools, improved graduation rates, and better college and career readiness. For our operations, we would expect and plan to see more efficient staffing allocations across schools, optimized and reduced redundancy, across our courses, better resource utilization, and more streamlined scheduling across our 11 high schools. Next slide. And lastly, our next steps in this work, as this is an iterative process right now, involve working directly with our school leaders and school teams to map out course offerings to career pathways by utilizing 4-year plans of study and utilizing the budget process that is soon to begin to support effective master scheduling and strategic planning. I'd be happy to address any questions about specific aspects of this revision with Daisy Torres-Hill and Dr. Ratley. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. At this time, we will open it up to any questions, and with joining me to answer any questions are Tracy and Dr. Done.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I have, before I turn it over to see if I'm sure that I have board members who may have questions, I have 2 questions. The first question is, what courses, because I understand there's a course reduction with regards to the advanced courses, what courses are going to be removed? And or if we can get a list of those courses that are going to be removed. And also with regards to the virtual learning opportunities for advanced coursework and some electives, what is that going to look like? Who is going to be providing the instruction? Where will that individual be, whoever is going to be providing the instruction? And, what will support look like?
Okay. I know that Tracy, go ahead, Dr. Ratley. I see that you have unmuted, so go right ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you for the question. And yes, we will get that list of courses to you, and not just state the list, but also the rationale beside it, just to frame some context. We have a number of ways that not only came from the district teams in terms of virtual course offerings, but even from our principals. And so, Tracy, I will just tag you in terms of giving a couple of specific examples around how that could work in terms of that virtual sharing of staff and courses.
Sure. And actually, Dr. Ratley, just to go back to the advanced coursework piece, as of right now, we are not taking out any advanced coursework. We want to actually increase our advanced coursework options for students to request. So when students will begin course requests and sort of selecting, what they're interested in, we'll be able to see what our demand is for schools across those schools for each course. So that we can more strategically sort of pair schools. And actually, that would be a great opportunity for a virtual option for a student, particularly with the advanced coursework, because some of those courses would align more to online learning, would prepare students for online learning in college, and also provide opportunities for a school who does not necessarily have a teacher who is trained in advanced coursework to share that staff member, particularly in a course or a section that is under-enrolled, with another course and section at another school that is also under-enrolled, so that the two can then join and share that teacher and advanced coursework experience. So that's just one example, and I just wanted to tie that back to the advanced course question.
Thank you. Okay, and let me just see. Okay, Board Member Tatum, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Steliger. Yeah, my question is also about the revision to the program of studies. And I think maybe it's not so much a question for right now, although if anything that I say calls anybody to speak to this, I'd be glad to hear. I think this is the type of thing that I would really like some more communication or more clarity about the needs for making some of these revisions, the rationale for some of the revisions, and the factors that go into play. Because I know that staffing is a big sort of pressure that is probably a rationale for some of these decisions, and also wanting to increase, the educational opportunities that we're able to provide. And I appreciate the creativity that goes into trying to solve that problem, right? That like we can like find these ways to both address some of the staffing problems and create educational opportunities. Like I see the effort that is being made to create that. And I wonder, like, I would love to hear some other voices about like the impact of an 18% reduction in our course offerings, like what are teachers saying, what are building principals saying, where are people experiencing losses, where are people seeing opportunities, just so that we could have like more of a full picture of what a change like this means for the people that are working most closely with the students. Like I get that you're giving us a very sort of top line view of this and that we don't have all the time to go through a whole process, nor does the board necessarily need to know all of that. But I think it would inspire some more sort of faith and trust if we did hear a little bit more of the voices that are impacted by a change like this. So I don't know if there's anything there that any of you care to speak on now, but and I don't even know, like, are you sharing this with us for informational purposes? Like the board doesn't approve the program of studies, does it?
That's correct. It is being shared for, Board Member Tatum. It is being shared for informational purposes because there are shifts. And so just wanted to make sure that the board was aware as we update and engage internal staff and families as students begin to select their courses for this year. I can take it from one angle to provide a little perspective, particularly with our CTE, or that's Career Technical Education courses. We know that we value and have a very, a lot of focus on our pathways, for instance. And so in review and alongside schools in determining what are their pathways that are designated at their sites, taking a look at which courses actually need to be in place and align in order to move that student appropriately through that path from 9th to 12th grade year. And in some instances, we saw where there was overlap or where a course was not necessary and didn't actually line up. There were other resources, national resources that the team used as well. So we did not necessarily or at all enter this with a staff shortage look. We actually look at how can we ensure that every school is aligned in offering what students need to graduate and also be prepared for after graduation, depending on if they want to go to four-year colleges and so forth. Hinging particularly from some feedback that we got from students last spring who talked about higher level courses that they may not have access to. So it really challenged the team in thinking about, okay, where do we stay grounded in what we do offer? How do we acknowledge the differentialities based on pathways or magnets? And then how do we expand options with limited resources in terms of staffing? And so that's kind of the progression of how we went through, but more than happy to share exactly how that played out and feedback that we've gotten from internal staff as well, for sure.
Yeah, thank you for that. Even that one example like does help me. And since I appreciate that you're cluing the board in, but I think my advice, I guess, is like, since we don't have to approve anything with this, as you're communicating with the internal teams and with school-based staff and with the community, like, do just keep those factors in mind, that it's like easier to, with so much, I think people are very sensitive to any ideas of cuts or reductions or like, why is that happening? Why are we getting less? Like what's going on? People are very sensitive to that. And I'm very sensitive to that. So I would encourage you to lead with the ways that this is creating educational opportunities that didn't exist before, and make sure that that is sort of true. And when it's not true, like when there are financial realities, just be real about that. And like that will help. That is one thing that will help us as a board advocate for us to get the funds that we do need, right? Like if we are operating from a place of scarcity, let's know that and be able to do what we can do in our role to address that problem, or try to. And when there is like, great solutions that we can arrive at that create opportunities, like celebrate that and lead with that.
Thank you, Board Member Tatum. That's really great feedback.
I have a question, a follow-up question for that, just to be for clarity and for public consumption. Have there been changes made as of yet, or you're just bringing us the information?
We are in the planning. Go ahead, Tracy. I see you, but we are in the planning right now process. And so this is a point where we want to update the board, and we are engaging, our internal teams as well. And we do have a timeline that we are adhering to, so that we make sure that folks are engaged in the process. Is there anything you would like to add?
Nope, just that it has just been a process, and that we are, the only other thing that I wanted to add was the added sort of the lens of the teacher and the increased benefit of just leaning into more teacher collaboration around more similar courses. And so research tells us that when you have a professional learning community and a small group of teachers learning with each other, they learn best, and they're primed for that professional learning when they're teaching similar courses. And so when we have so much variation, it's harder to bring teachers together around similar concepts, topics, and the curriculum. And so that's also part of the consolidation, or just bringing those things together, so that we can make sure that we're doing a better job with some less, so that we're not as scattered. So.
Thank you so much for that. But I just want to also, I'm also hoping that we're still going to have that diversity with regards to the different courses that are offered, and also just continue to be innovative in that aspect as well. And let me see, Board Member Tatum, have all of your questions been answered? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'll just take the bait and like point out that is one of those contradictions that I think that not enough time is spent talking about, like the real contradictions that exist in a lot of education work. And this real tension between the, like, yes, I think Tracy, what you're saying is very true, that like professional learning communities are more meaningful when people are able to collaborate across similar courses. And I've experienced that myself as a teacher. And that consistency is very important. And like, so is autonomy and the ability of a teacher to design a curriculum that's unique to you, or a school to design, coursework that is unique to that school. Like both of those things are true, and resolving that contradiction is hard a lot of the time. And yeah, it's hard to have it both ways. So one of the things that makes the job interesting, I guess. But yeah, I appreciate the effort that's going into sort of balancing that. And thank you, Ms. Darristol-Ledger, for sort of lifting the importance of diversity and innovation as also a factor. Yeah, so now I'm good.
Okay, great. Awesome. Let me see if there's anyone else, any board members who may have a question. I don't see any hands up. Board Member Wilson, are you good?
I'm all set, thank you.
Board Member Brody, are you good? I don't hear Board Member Brody. Okay, and Chair Hockenhall, are you all set as well?
All set. Yep, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, and let's see. I believe that is, or do we have another agenda item?
No, that concludes the agenda.
Okay, great. So you know what? Thank you everyone for attending, and this was a short meeting today. Everyone have a good evening, and this meeting is adjourned.